Hello, everybody. Whoever you might be out there in Twitchville, or if you're watching this later in YouTube land, I'm Craig Campbell, and this is an incredibly scary prospect because I am taking the very first alpha test of a game I'm designing and putting it out there publicly, which is normally not something I do. Normally, I take these games to a group of friends and we just play because it gives me a chance to play a few sessions, get a sense of how the game functions, and usually it's with a lot of friends who are generally very supportive of me because I like that early on because every game designer should know where their cheering section is because it helps to keep you motivated. And actually, as it turns out, a fair number of the people who are going to be playing today are friends of mine, and the other person is a brand new friend. So we're going to get to know everybody as players and also their characters. This game is Nowhereville, tentative title. It is a horror game of kind of Stephen King style in a town that won't let you leave. So the core conceit for all of you to remember, players, is that even if your character wants to leave the town, they can't. And if they want to, they can't bring themselves to do it, and they know they can't. And so that might create some conflict and drama for them. Or they simply don't want to leave the town, even though the town is filled with all sorts of weird things, monsters, bad things happen, people die. And for whatever silly, strange reason outside of the realm of understanding, people continue to have children in this town, and people continue to come here to live and move here, and then they are also trapped in the town as well. So that's the basic run of it. The town actually is named Norville. The state that it's in, this country that it's in, is immaterial. It is a small town in the middle of nowhere, hence the name Nowhereville that people of the town tend to refer to it as. So let's pop around the group a little bit here. Oh, Chris.
Hi, my name is Chris. I will be playing Charles Winston Forthright. He's a man in his early 40s. He looks about 10 years younger, clean shaven, wearing a nice suit. He is on the town or city council. He's also a prominent business owner. His family, which the Forthrights have been living in this town for generations, although he was not always a Forthright. He was adopted by them as part of a mostly kind of a PR stunt on the part of the family, trying to generate some goodwill and get some good headlines. He's not really sure what happened to his birth mother and father. That's something that may come out through the course of play. We'll see. And he is someone who is very charismatic, very charming. I'm playing as the Pillar.
Yes, to explain, all of these characters are playbooks of kind of archetypes of people in the town, and pillar refers to like a pillar of society. He's well known. He's a bit of a local celebrity, essentially. How about Shannon?
Hi, my name's Shannon. I'm playing Audrey Williams, the townie, as it's currently called. Um, Audrey is in her early 40s. She works part time on the city council. She has two kids who are in middle school, probably about like 13 and 10 ish. Um, yeah, she's got short hair, she's brunette, she's hyper organized, divorced, and she is kind of the town gossip in a way. She also is really into like town history, like seriously obsessed with it.
Did we determine maybe works as a clerk?
Yeah,
So that puts her in the position of kind of like she knows everybody. She's the clerk for all the counselors, and kind of knows everybody in the town government, and that's a great spot for a gossip to be. Does that work?
yep, definitely.
All right, Ando.
Hi, I am Ando Valentine. I am playing Valerie Morgan, who is known as the Forgotten, which in terms of like what that means for the game, for the story of the town, she's lived in the town her whole life. There's been some circumstances and bad luck in her life that have caused her to kind of just end up being forgotten on the fringe of society. She's kind of the person that you may not know that you know, but she's always around. And she's also almost forgotten exactly how old she is because just the town's kind of robbed her of any of the joy of life. She is nearly 40, but doesn't fully even grasp it. And you can really, she shows the signs of her struggle to maintain her sanity with lots of lines on her face and, short and salt and pepper hair and being stooped over constantly. She wears almost all gray all the time. And she just looks like she's trying to just be an invisible shadow. And as far as attitude, when she interacts with other people, she's not exactly the, I mean, she's not rude necessarily, but she's paranoid. I've been saying that you can kind of expect to see similar levels of disdain for authority as you do in early Ellen Ripley of the beginning of the second Aliens movie. So that kind of like, I can't believe that nobody else sees what I see. So paranoia, disdain, that's Valerie.
And Shireen.
Hello. I am Freen, or Madfish. I am playing the youngster. Her name is Bronwyn. She's about 19. She's finished high school. She's trying to get into a good college. She's sort of doing some work now, doing some volunteering and whatnot to build up her resume. She's one of those young people that you meet that when you first meet them, you think, wow, they're pretty grown up. But after a while, you're like, no, you're still 19. Yeah. She tries. She tries very hard. And so she tries to be fairly fashionable, but also, dresses a little more grown up than she is to, make herself look a little older. But she means well. She's generally a pleasant person to be around. She's not one of those mean girls or anything. She's just sort of a curious, but not particularly worldly. She spent a lot of time in school, I think. So.
And hoping to go to college and leave town. So that's a struggle. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but she's got to build up her portfolio first, right?
Sure, and save a little money and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Put the money away. You want to get into a good one, not just any.
Don't just accept the first application.
That's
all right.
totally a Jewish justification.
Well, in any role playing game, everybody has to find a reason for their character to kind of be at the place and do the thing. So there we go. We have a frustrated, wants to be in college but is stuck in this stinking little town. And I think there are probably people on this within this group of players in GM and people who are listening and watching right now who have been that person at some point or another. Anyway, to kick off the story, you are in the town of Nowhereville. Population around 3,000. It's not terribly large. It's the kind of town that is big enough for a high school, for an elementary school. It's got a sheriff's department, but not a police force. It does have a fire department, but it's half volunteers. There's a smattering of businesses of various varieties, so that you can everything you kind of need happen. You can get in the town, or in today's day and age, of course, you can get things ordered and delivered and all that sort of thing. But there's like an old kind of leftover from yesteryear department store that still exists because of the nature of the town. That it doesn't see a lot of chain restaurants, and it never got a mall because like the chain stores don't come to this little podunk town. It has one business that is sort of the town business, and that is a pulp and paper mill called Fort Allen. And the buildings for that kind of dominate the center of the city. The pulp mill's on one side of a river, the paper mill's on the other side. There's just a few stoplights in the town. It's not terribly big. And the group of you are probably, not necessarily seated together, but we'll put you kind of at least within earshot of each other. And you, at the very least, kind of know each other or know of each other. That's the nature of these small towns, is everybody kind of gets to know everybody else. Everybody's up in everybody else's business. When somebody gets arrested for something, everybody knows. And you are at a diner called Big Mama's Diner. It is just kind of your classic American diner. It's one of the few kind of like nicely designed buildings in the town. It actually has that kind of neo Art Deco with some chrome and neon kind of diner style place that's right along the main street. And it's dinner time, and all of you are there in whatever capacity is appropriate to you, and I will let you all take it away. And certainly have interactions with each other, or if you're all seated together for some reason or another, we can make that all up as we go along. There may be something that you're all volunteering for, or there's just not a lot of space, so you're all at the counter right next to each other, or whatever. So,
yeah, I would
having dinner. The sun's going down
at the counter. Doing some schoolwork, or a little bit of studying, cup of coffee, a little pie. And,
I am off in one corner at a table by myself with like a cup of coffee and half a eaten plate of hash browns in front of me, and just head down, not paying attention to anything.
The waitress
I'm doing some work, but I'm kind of, just casually looking up and around and going back to the book, and just normal night. Something she does very often. Just kind of will, go to the cafe to study instead of studying at home, because it's just a different place.
I'm probably there with one of my sons, maybe the younger, who and we're grabbing a bite to eat, and I'm helping him with his homework. But I'm probably very aware that Val is down the counter and kind of like, just like surreptitiously kind of keeping my eye on her, as well as probably that Chris is there too. So I think Audrey is a little kind of like trying to focus on helping with homework, and but is like aware of everybody's here, just kind of a little flustered.
Yeah, I imagine that Charles has recently walked in like a king surveying his domain, just sort of checking out to see who's there, and he immediately clocks Audrey and says, "Audrey!" and walks over towards her.
Chris, how's
Good.
it going?
Audrey, it's great to see you. And he reaches over and gives you a hug.
She like awkwardly kind of half hugs back, and she turns kind of red.
And
I kind of glance over at this.
he notices your son is there, and he's like, "How you doing, champ? Boy, you've grown a lot in the last... When was the last time we saw each other? 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago. But gosh, you've gotten so big."
He rolls his eyes like nobody's business.
Charles does
not
not
alone.
does not miss a beat. He just keeps right on going.
This is
So-
more comfortable territory for Audrey, so she's gonna put her hand on and like ruffle his head, and it's just like, yeah, he's grown like a weed.
He kind of shrugs to get his head away from you, like, Mom.
I'm trying, I'm like empathizing with the kid, and I'm trying really hard. Like, I'm sort of torn between giggling at him and I'm giving the kid like a sympathetic, like, I'm so sorry your parents were doing this to you look.
Just stopping in for a cup of coffee and some of Mama's famous chocolate pie.
Are you addressing, sorry, Audrey?
Yes, he's addressing Audrey.
Yeah, well, we needed a quick bite. We figured we'd come get a milkshake and get some of that math homework done.
Math was always a tough subject for me as well when I was in school. Best of luck to you, champ. Well, Audrey, it was great seeing you. I'll gonna stop in and check with some of the other people here, but be sure to stop back by after I'm done, and maybe we can have a milkshake or some pie.
Yes, I mean, you too. I mean, that would be nice.
What's Audrey's son's name? The elder, the one that's there with her.
Yeah, that's a good question. The younger, I'm gonna say his name is Ben. And the older, who is probably at a friend's house or something, let's say his name is good name that's not already used. The first thing I think is Chris. Let's say his name is William.
Throughout all of this, I can hear everything that's going on from my table in the corner of the, and I'm just like, I just pull my gray hood up over and just shake my head and take, like drain the coffee and like sort of tap it on the table as a tacit more.
The waitress hasn't been by your table in an extraordinarily long time, which is not, surprising to you.
No, it's not.
That given that how you fade into the background so much and people just don't notice you a lot. But you finally get the waitress's attention and get a refill. And it's a quick, like, if you don't start a conversation, it's like she comes over, she tops you off, and then
I'm not stopping her. She can go
like,
ahead and
like pauses for like a beat to see if you're going to ask for something, and then
no, just gonna keep back to my hash browns, back to my coffee, and try and ignore the politician as far as I'm concerned, trying to glad hand the entire diner.
And looking around, you realize that they are short staffed. Like they're down a waitress tonight. So and the place is busy, so that's like the staff that they have on hand is really busting their humps. Shireen, what's Branwen up to?
I think she might notice that, I imagine a lot of the people her age work in the diner sometimes.
Oh, sure. There's dishwashers and wait staff who are high school students, or just out of high school.
Mm-hmm. So she'd be pretty familiar. Like those would be all her, peers and stuff. So she'd probably know who was, So maybe she'd, ask somebody behind the counter, who's not in tonight. You guys are really busy.
Sophia called in sick. Sophia Bell.
Mm-hmm. Oh no. Well, like, I'm done. Do you want some help?
She says, I don't know that anybody can pay you, but we if you got a few minutes just to help clear a few tables, that would be great.
Oh yeah, sure. And so she goes and grabs a little apron and grabs a bucket and starts puts some gloves on and starts cleaning some tables. She's helpful kid.
And Bronwyn is...
I will be right back.
Oh, sure. Bronwyn goes through, clears off some tables, and busses, takes the bus tray back to behind in the kitchen, and is not in the room when the following happens. As Charles walks kind of like right across where the front door is, you hear a gasp from a couple of people who are sitting right at the window, like right at the front window. And the door busts open, and in stumbles a man who is bloodied and beaten to a pulp, barely standing, like seriously injured. Cradling one arm, which is clearly broken. The lower arm, both radius and ulna, it like you can't see the bone, but you can see like their shirt sleeve is jutted at a kind of an odd angle. Like you can just imagine that underneath there, the bone is maybe even piercing the skin, or at the very least, the arm is actually, bent. And they're cradling that, and their face is bloodied up, a mush of swollen lips, and they say, "Oh, help!" and just fall over onto Charles. And now just smearing blood all over Charles's nice clothing.
Charles would immediately spring into action, cradle the man, take him down to the ground, and in his most commanding voice, just yell out, "Help! We need some help! Anyone with any kind of medical training, get over here now!"
Just as a quick question, because it might be relevant, is there a hospital in the town, or are there, what's the status on our medical?
Right, and that's something I had to think about quite a bit for the design of this game, because it is a small town. But there is such a thing as small town clinics, where they will take inpatient care. They may have like a single rescue squad or ambulance. That's part of the clinic, and there are a handful of beds that are equipped and staff that are equipped for actual inpatient care. So if like somebody is badly injured before they're taken somewhere else, they can be taken there. So we do have there's a clinic that's like bordering on having like hospital capabilities. That is to say, it has a lot of the basics that you would expect. It has like they have X-ray machine and some of that technology, but they don't they can't do highly specialized care. There's doctors and nurses who live in the town and work there. Taking a quick glance around, you don't see any of them in the diner at the moment.
Okay, Audrey is probably going to start yelling commands. So she's going to be like, you, and points at someone behind the counter, call the clinic, whatever we would use to call it, if it's 911 or something. And then points at someone else and is like, I need some clean rags. And like, Chris, take off your belt. We need to stop the bleeding in the arm, first of all.
Quick note, Chris's character is named Charles.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Charles.
okay. Good job, Chris. You did a CH name and you threw everybody off. It's okay. So Charles is being told to start to strip, and Bronwyn comes walking. You can hear us, yes?
Yeah, I obviously from the kitchen.
Okay.
She could hear, what was going on, and it just took her a moment, of course, because she had her hands full. But I imagine there would be a first aid kit, likely stored in the kitchen somewhere.
Yep, on the wall, very, very prominently displayed.
Yeah, so she's going to grab that. She's pretty. She's the Girl Scout type, so she would probably have basic first aid training. I'm just imagining her as that type.
Sure.
Just the really basic stuff, like, keep this clean. Don't put this in your mouth. So she will come out with some gloves and in whatever clean rags she could find, and she'll come running over with the first aid kit, and I imagine with Valerie, no, you're Valerie, Audrey. Audrey having kids might also have some basic first aid knowledge as well. So I'm gonna, hand the kid over to her. Since she's given orders too.
Just as a side note, since orders are being tossed around and people are probably bustling around because, wildly wounded man, like in the initial gasping, Valerie, I can imagine I would sort of get up and look, seeing what's going on and react. But as soon as it's clear that Charles and Audrey have this situation, I'm just going to kind of shrink back into my booth and just kind of see if I can avoid being noticed.
And in your booth, you see something that you have seen all too often in this town. The other three people are the characters here are engaged directly with the injured person. But you see, certainly there are people who are concerned. There's shock and disbelief. There's a number of people who are kind of whispering amongst themselves. There's who is it? Blah, 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 blah. There's all of this going on. And there's also a surprising number of people, a non-zero number of people who look to see what's happening and just go back to their meals because they've seen this before in this town. They've seen this sort of thing. And it's the curse of the town that people will, that tomorrow most of the people in here will just kind of forget the details of what happened here. They'll remember that somebody was hurt. And if they know that person, they will know enough to go visit them in the hospital. But they will kind of forget some of the details. Now, all of you as characters in the game are special. Your characters, the reason that you are going to be able to fight back against all of this is because you start to realize you're trapped here, and that everybody is trapped here, and that these horrible things, these bad things happen, and that people seem to just kind of conveniently forget that they're happening. Whereas, each of you has, for some amount of time to be determined by you, your character's eyes have been opened to this. So, Valerie, you are seeing that all play out once again. Bronwyn, let's see, Shireen, you've got the first aid kit, barring having to do anything heavily physical with first aid. First aid is primarily about just doing the right thing, being smart. So, and using the tools at hand. So let's have you make a mind check. And just to describe for everybody who's listening and watching, the game, there are 4 traits that each character has: body, mind, charm, and heart. Body is everything physical about the character. Mind is everything mental, intellectual about the character, including their senses. And charm is everything social and charismatic about the character. Heart is your character's kind of inner fortitude, resilience, their ability to withstand punishment, to stay up late and still function properly, their courage. It's their heart in the metaphorical sense. And in the game, you roll, each of those traits has a score of somewhere between 1 and 4, and you roll a number of d6s equal to that score, shooting for a target number that I will always tell you, because that's how the system needs to be played. And you're trying to get at least one of your dice to hit or exceed that target number. And in the game, I often I refer to those as hits. So you want 1 or more hits on your dice. So let's see a mind check target number 4. It's kind of fairly straightforward, basic first aid.
Okay, I got a 3 and a 5.
So 1 hit. We're all rolling. Everybody, we're rolling dice in front of ourselves. I trust all of you to be honest.
I wanted to show you my pretty die.
Ooh. And in this game, I call the system the roll track system. Basically, what it comes down to is every time you make a roll, you will also mark something on a track. In the game, if you get no hits, you fail at whatever it is you're doing, there's some sort of complication that I can introduce, and you mark mark one checkbox on a skill track, and that skill track, when it fills up, allows you to advance your character. So you get better at things by failing. If you get exactly one hit, you succeed at whatever it is you're looking to do, and you mark one spirit. And a spirit is a currency in the game that allows you can spend that spirit on a number of different things, including on getting extra dice on trait checks, and then some characters you might have talents that require you to spend spirit to invoke the effect of that talent. If you get 2 or more checks or 2 or more hits on your check, instead of marking a box, there's what's called the sway track, and you will move on that sway track. It's a 10-point scale that goes from chaos to order. And each level is associated with something. There's something about your character. And I had each of you mark one of the 2 middle boxes to start with. And that middle box gives you like an ability or a power that your character can use. And when you get 2 or more hits, you will move one along that track toward whichever end of the track you are closest to. So wherever you marked your box, if you're closer to the order end of the track, you would move one toward order. If you were closer to the chaos end, you would move one toward chaos. And what this represents is how the town sways you, the influence that the town has over you. As you get closer to the order end of things, there are cooler things that kind of make you a hero and really good. And as you move toward the chaos end, there are things that are a little darker, and that allow you to you can actually blend in with monsters and things and not be noticed by them, because the town and the monsters kind of see you as part of them. And there's a darker power that you can invoke and so forth. If you hit the end of the track and you have to move another one toward that end of the track, I'll let you know what happens. You don't roll off the track. You don't fall off the sway track, but there's a thing that happens. However, if you are going to move on the track, one direction or the other, if you want to move the other direction, instead of moving toward the nearest one when you are prompted to, you can spend a spirit to move the other direction. So you actually do have some guidance to push yourself to different ends of the track at different times. So the hope here, from a designer standpoint, is that that track is associated with a number of things that your character might find useful. And as you play the game, you will find ways to manipulate yourself into getting to the places that on the track that gives you the things that you want. But the really cool things are out at the outer edges, and that puts you more likely to push off the edge, and something bad happens there.
I have a quick question about the power, since you were just talking about them.
Sure.
Is there a limitation on the number of times, like in an act or whatever, that you can use a power?
No, normally, if a power requires spirit expenditure, obviously you're limited by the amount of spirit you have available. And it's not always a bad idea to hang on to spirit, because you can use it for extra dice, and you can use it to adjust how you're going to move on the sway track. So just be wary of spending spirit on powers too quickly. Everybody should be starting with 3 spirit, by the way. I think I mentioned that when we created characters. Any talent or power that has a capital letter A in parentheses, that means it counts as your action. So like if we were in combat rounds, it would count as your action for that turn. Anything else is, if it doesn't have that A there, it means it's usually because it's a bonus to something, it modifies something else, or it's just something that's minor that you can do more easily that doesn't require you to kind of take up your turn doing. Does that answer the question, Ando? Okie dokie. So back to Bronwyn after that long-winded explanation. Hopefully that all makes sense. That's the whole system. Other than gaining advantage or disadvantage, which just gives you a die or takes a die away. That's that's the core of the system. So you got 1 success. You patch this fellow up with the first aid kit and mark a spirit, because you had 1 hit. What's Charles doing with this poor fellow who is now sobbing and starting to shake in fear and panic? He keeps looking at the door, like expectantly, as if he's waiting for something to come in.
Charles is going to try to put his hand on a part of him that is not injured, and is going to try to look him in the eyes and speak to him in a very soothing, calming voice. Do I know this? Do I know this person?
You get a good look now that you're kind of up close. This is, everybody knows Coach Brown. This is the phys ed teacher and the football and wrestling coach at the school. Leland Brown. Everybody calls him Coach Brown or Coach B. He's kind of beloved because they small town, calling from my own personal experience, small towns love their sports. Screw the academics. We want our winning sports teams. He's very much kind of your alpha male, kind of like big-headed, you rah-rah sports. He loves his athletes, kind of small town coach. But is, other than being kind of the cliche of that, he's generally liked in the town. Getting a good look, now you're kind of focused on him, and we'll come back to you in just a moment. Audrey, you also see that not only is Coach Brown packing a broken arm and beaten and bloodied up and bruises are starting to form, but that he appears like there are actual cuts too. Like there's blood slowly spreading in a couple of spots on his shirt where he's and Bronwyn is getting to deal, is tending to those, but you notice that as well. Charles, you're back to calming the coach.
My God, Leland, what happened? Are you all right?
Something, and I'm saying this easier than he is, just so that we can all understand it. He's speaking through multiple missing teeth, and swollen lips, and a bit tongue. That is to say, he bit his own tongue.
Right.
He's not like sporting like a giant piece of tongue missing necessarily, and something big. And he's now he starts to kind of he's lying on his back, and he starts pushing his heels on the floor, and the floor is slick with blood, so he's getting no purchase, and he's trying to push himself away from the door.
Easy, Leland. Easy. You're safe now.
You want to try to get him under control?
Yep, absolutely.
Here's Mr. Charisma. Let's have you make a charm check. He is terrified and panicked. Target number 6.
Okay. And my specialties include leading others and persuading. So would I get to apply my specialty to this situation?
I think you're trying to persuade him that he's safe.
Okay, so that gives me an extra dice.
That being the case, right. So on the character sheet, you have specialties. If we're doing something that falls within one of your specialties, that gives you advantage automatically, which gives you an extra die.
You said difficulty 6?
Target number 6. Yeah, he is panicked. He's going to be hard to calm down.
I do not get any successes.
So,
6 is tough.
Feel free. Yeah, it is. Mark a skill for getting no hits, and he starts to ramp up, and we're gonna complication. Valerie, you're kind of nonchalantly watching this and surveying this from the back of the room. And
I had something I was going to do in a sec, so go ahead, tell me what's about to happen here.
I'm about to throw a monkey wrench in your plans, potentially, but...
Oh, boy.
Well, we'll see. You may not react to this. You are also, everybody's focused on Coach Brown. You look outside past the door that he was scrambling to get away from, and you see, loping past the door, out on the street, in the darkness, underneath the streetlights, a bipedal form, big and burly and heavy in the chest and shoulders, hunched over. It is effectively humanoid, but bestial. And it just tears across the front of the in front of the diner.
For what it's worth,
just there for just for a couple of seconds, and then it's gone.
I mean, honestly, for what it's worth, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was wanting to look out the door since Coach Brown was looking out the door. So basically, that's exactly what I was going to do. I heard you say it's a very, very brief flash, so I understand if there isn't time. But is there any way, with my understanding of what is in the town, having been here and seen stuff and had my eyes open for a long time, any way that I can see recognize if I've seen this kind of thing before?
Not specifically this type of thing, that you've necessarily seen. But there have certainly been stories, even in the time that, like you said, your eyes have been open since you've been kind of noticing these things, that violence happens in the town. People get hurt. People attack and hurt each other. And there has been like, you haven't seen a quote unquote monster yet, but like in the moment when people are talking about things before they all sort of forget, like the idea that there's something monstrous or some things monstrous in the town does roll across people's tongues, and people speculate, and there are conspiracies and ideas, and then eventually that all sort of dies out.
Okay, so at the point that I'm noticing this and it's like vanishing out of sight is like, are either Branwen or Charles essentially at a either a stopping or pausing point in caring for Coach Brown that I could kind of like get their attention?
Sure. I mean, you could like Charles has failed to get the coach under control. Bronwyn has basically gotten the basics of first aid underway and dealt with. So like he's done
what I know how to do.
He's not bleeding, and you've inspected to make sure that there are no other injuries other than just things like bruises that you can't do anything about. And we're going to say that you haven't splinted the broken arm necessarily, but you've like wrapped. You took a couple of plates on either side of
some
the
wooden
arm,
spoons
or spoons or something, tied them off just to. It's not tightened down to put you didn't set the arm back, but you actually.
But he won't wiggle it.
You immobilized it to the point like it's not going to continue to wobble on the break.
Yeah. So basically, at the seeing that and seeing what I've seen outside, I'm going to shoot Charles a very probably familiar sort of dirty look and like, fat lot of good you're doing right now. Then I'm actually going to come over and put my hand on Bronwyn's shoulder, because if we haven't established this on stream already, she is my cousin. And so basically we are, I'm like, Bronwyn, there's the paramedics can take it from here. There is something a lot scarier outside. You need to get home, child.
Wait, what?
You need to get home, child. It's not safe.
I'm not going home. Outside? You just said there was something scary out there.
Yeah, it's gone now. If you're careful and hide and you're silent, then you'll be okay. They don't see you if you're quiet. Now get home, child. I'm trying to save you.
I think Audrey's gonna cut in because she's right there too.
Yeah, totally. You're right there.
She's just like, Val, you're not helping. Val, you need to calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down. People have been telling me to calm down for years. I know what I saw out there. Sooner or later, it's going to get all of us if you don't pay attention.
Okay, what did you see though?
It was big and its shoulders. It's dark, okay? What am I supposed to do? It ran fast. Look, as I'm just gesturing at the emptiness out in front. Look, just look.
I felt a sarcastic eye roll mixed with crazy.
I will go up.
Hello, Val.
I will go up to all of the windows in the diner, and I will take a very good look outside because it's not that she's my cousin. She knows what she's talking about. I believe her. I'll go look outside. I won't go outside, but I'm going to look through the windows.
Sure, you look. Give me a mind check, target number 5, to see what you pick up on. This is essentially for senses, like just senses in general. Looking, listening.
I got a 5 and a 1.
Okay, 1 hit. You don't see anything, but you hear a scream from down the street.
Oh my god, you guys, I just heard something. Somebody screamed down the street.
It was a...
And I point in the direction of...
It was a man's, this is vaguely sounding, deeper voice, man's scream. There's the scream and then like abruptly cut off.
Oh my god. Coach B, were you out there with anybody?
The coach is like incoherent, babbling, just trying desperately to get away from the door, struggling against Charles, not paying attention to any questions.
Okay, now I'm for sure not going out there.
I think Audrey is going to, first of all, she's losing patience with Val, like a ton. Ben might have wandered over to see what's the commotion, and like, okay, Ben, back to your booth, sweetie. Val, you need to calm down. Even if you're hurt, you're scaring people, and I need you to lower your voice. And Val and I have a kind of a history. This hasn't been said on screen yet, but yeah, we kind of go back a ways. So Val, I need you to lower your voice. I need you to calm down. Now, if someone's out there and they're hurt, I think, and she's going to look at Charles now, I think we probably need to go find them and bring them to the relative safety of the diner. She's very reluctant about this. She does not want to go out there either, but it's feeling like we probably have to.
We should probably call the sheriff first. It seems like
yeah,
the
right.
sheriff is going to do anything helpful.
I'm going to go over and I'm going to make the call. And I'm all, as soon as somebody says phone the sheriff, I'm like, oh yeah, and I just do it.
Well, one of the as you're saying that, like, one of the people that's kind of watching all this, one of the townsfolk in the diner, says, we called 911. Like, somebody should be coming, but keep in mind, all of what's happened, everything that's happened here has been a matter of like just a few minutes.
Okay.
All right. If someone needs to head out there,
well, not alone.
I think it should be
no. I
not
agree.
Alone. We should go together.
I also agree. We should go as a group. There's safety in numbers. Everyone make sure that when you head out there, you take a knife or some sort of weapon with you so that we can defend ourselves.
I get my flashlight on my phone.
Valerie?
I kind of get it in my pocket so that it will, like, I tuck the phone into the pocket so it will shine forward so I can see where I'm going. And then I go and get, like, the biggest wooden spoon I can find in the kitchen.
I was thinking more something along the lines of a large kitchen knife, maybe a cleaver, a meat tenderizer, something along those lines.
I told you, child, you have to be more prepared than this. And I pull out like a small, like it's kind of a self-defense style knife. It's nothing fancy. It's not, super sharp. It's probably one of those like simple folding, not even a switch or anything, just a simple folding, but it's my defense. Like this is the kind of thing you need. I've told you this, Branwen.
She has like a little Swiss Army knife. Look, it's practical. I'm thinking about, okay.
Charles, don't you dare take
I'm more
her out
afraid of
there
hurting
with you.
myself. And you know that with her, her experience is just that she's more
Charles,
likely
don't you
to
dare
hurt
take her
herself.
out there with you.
I'm going to help that guy. And she's marching forward to the door.
Valerie, she seems pretty dead set on doing this regardless of whether or not I just swayed her. If she wants to help, well, honestly, we need more young people like her in the world. People who are willing to stand up and do what's right.
Oh, save your politician speech. I'm not voting for you next time anyway. Fine. And I
Never
grumble
voted for me.
You're damn right I haven't. And I'm just going to charge after Bran when I'm staying close behind her. You little shit.
Charles would immediately take up the lead, seeing as how he doesn't want people to go headlong into harm's way in front of him. He sees himself as a leader, and so he wants to lead.
And Audrey?
Audrey's there. So Audrey, the only thing slowing her down is she's going to find someone who she thinks is the most responsible for like keeping an eye on Ben. Like, so someone who she feels like she can kind of command and like, he stays here. You make sure he stays here.
Sure.
But once she's done that, she's journeying out. I think what she's pulling out as a weapon from her purse is probably some like mace or pepper spray or something.
Okay.
She probably has it in her purse.
Okay, she grabs that. As Audrey leaves the diner, all of you hear a siren in the distance. And Audrey, as you glance kind of into the window once and last time as you leave, you look and you see that the coach is lying on his back. He has stopped struggling. And he is like he's hitching. His chest is hitching for breath. And one side of his chest and his stomach below the rib cage is like slightly more depressed than the other side. And he is hitching and struggling to breathe. But there's a siren, and an ambulance rounds the corner a few blocks away. Down the street. I'm going to have everybody give me a heart check the first time they go diving into the void, diving into the town filled with monsters and terrible things that happen, to see if you kind of keep your shit together this first time. We'll call it a target number 5. Difficult, but not terribly difficult.
Have a talent.
And if you have a spirit that you want to spend, of course, you can spend a spirit to gain an extra die.
Mm-hmm. I have a talent
Mm-hmm.
that I gain an advantage on a trait check associated with an action I've never done before.
Okay, there we go.
So does that mean I get another die?
How is it worded?
Narrate or record an activity you've never done before as you do it. Gain advantage on the trait check associated with that action.
Okay, to be clear, that gives you advantage, which gives you an extra die.
Right.
And then spending spirit, if anybody chooses to do that, gives you an extra die. It does not give you advantage. It gives you an extra die. It's described that way in the rules. So you can gain both.
Okay.
That's the extent of your additional dice. You can gain 2 if you're spending spirit and gaining advantage somewhere.
I have a talent called Confidence is Contagious, where I can inspire a friend to accomplish something. They gain advantage on their next trait check. So can I do that for one of the other characters?
Sure, you can talk somebody up as you're barreling forward into the unknown.
Okay. And then I'm also going to spend a spirit to improve my own heart check.
So who are you helping?
Who seems like they're the shakiest here in terms of
if I had to guess, Valerie doesn't seem shaky at all.
Not me.
Maybe Audrey.
Okay.
Since Bronwyn is already, like mechanically we're metagaming it a little bit. Like Bronwyn already kind of handled
I
her.
just kind of put my hand on Audrey's shoulder and I go, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. We're going to figure out whatever's going on and we're going to get it resolved. I promise.
And on my side, I just want to throw out my neutral power is lucky or not. Before I make a trait check, I can guess how many hits that I'm going to get on it. And I get a spirit if I'm correct, and I spend a spirit if I'm wrong. So I guess actually I can't do that because I don't think I've gained a spirit yet. So never mind.
No, everybody has started with 3 spirit.
Okay, you're right. There. Okay, so basically I'm going to guess that I'm going to get 1.
One
hit.
on how many dice you're rolling?
2.
Okay.
Ooh,
I got 2 hits actually.
So you did not get exactly 1 hit.
So I spend a spirit.
So you lose a spirit. Yeah.
I got a 3, and a 6.
Okay, so you got a hit. Mark a spirit.
Okay.
I got 1 hit as well.
Same for you. Mark a spirit.
Charles got no hits.
No hits.
So I gain another skill.
You do. Mark a skill.
At least I got 2 hits. Even if I lost the spirit, I got hits.
So I think she's right behind, Charles, and she's got the phone in her pocket with the light out so she can see where she's going, and she's got the very large spoon in one hand. And
why am I muting the siren? We've got a siren. What am I doing outside my house?
She's and she's just looking very, very focused, and on some level is kind of imagining herself as one of those sort of Nancy Drew types.
All right,
in a book, she's because that's sort of been her life, as she reads a lot, so she's sort of having this mental image of that as she's doing this, feeling very surreal, that this is actually her life.
I'm hovering like right behind you.
Real quick for Valerie, you got 2 hits. So you move 1 toward whatever end of the sway track you are nearest to. That's to keep in mind. Every time you roll a trait check, you will mark something somewhere. So you have probably crossed over into another part of the track.
That was very good evil giggle.
And Charles got a skill. So, and so Charles failed. We're going to put you at disadvantage until further notice. All of your blowhardedness is coming back to haunt you. Like, you talk a good game, but oh my gosh, are you scared? This is bad news. There's not a gun among you. And the group of you goes zipping down the street, and you find down a couple blocks down on a corner a man, who, actually a young man, teenager. You recognize him as Jay Navarro, who is the recently promoted, or sorry, let me double check that. Sorry, recently demoted to second string high school quarterback, who is lying on the curb, lying on the sidewalk, without a shirt, and is has a bruises around his neck, and appears to be unconscious. And when I say bruises around their neck, like a ring, halfway, like all the way around, from one side to the other, around the front of the throat.
Oh, gross!
Stay back. Don't get too close. Is he dead? Is he already dead?
Well, I can't tell if I can't check.
Not you. One of you two.
Audrey,
I gesture to Audrey and Charles.
Yeah. Audrey will step up and check if he's breathing, if he's had, okay.
Charles breathes an audible sigh of relief at this because he really didn't want to check to see if that person was alive or dead.
Okay, you get in close. It doesn't take long to realize that his chest is going up and And when you get in and look a little closer, you see that there's a bit of blood, kind of speckled on his chest and his shoulders and his arm. There's a couple of stains of blood on his pants legs. But the most noticeable thing is this kind of very deep, and it's almost like you can almost see it getting more purple bruise around his neck. But his chest is going up and down. He seems to be breathing okay. He's not labored in his breathing, but he's unconscious.
How far are we from the ambulance and the diner?
3 blocks.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to. Oh, she looks to Charles, and it is like we're gonna have to carry him back to get back to the first responders.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, we should be careful though because of his neck. Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should run back. You know what? I'll run back and I'll tell them. Maybe me and Val will run back and you guys stay here.
Okay. Yeah.
Because his neck is hurt and I'm just afraid if we lift him up that we might do worse. I remember they said that in first aid.
Sooner or later, the town will get him too. It's not going to make that much difference. But if you insist, yes, I'll go with you back to the diner.
Okay, let's run though. Like literally run.
As you turn, and just in time, the train went by. I'm muting because, I live in a busy, loud area, everybody, so there will be occasional mutings. Players, keep that in mind. If you see, normally I don't mute when I'm GMing. If you see me mute for a period of time, it's probably because there's some noise going on. And so if you can stretch out the scene and not expect me to speak until I get off the mute, that would be great. So as you turn to go running back to get more help, because this town does only have the one ambulance, you hear from just around the corner in the shadow. Here there is a stoplight, or not a stoplight, a street light that is out. It is burned out, so you're kind of in more darkness on this corner. And something, this bipedal form, wearing pants and shoes, but also kind of hulking and big from the waist up, broad, like unnaturally broad shoulders, that is to say. Bestial features, big across the chest and heavy arms. The face, which was, maybe still is human, has its brow deeply furrowed, and the mouth is jutting with a few kind of mangled, spiky teeth. They're covered in spatters of blood. Their hands, like from the wrist down, their hands are fully bloodied, and you see that their fingertips end in pointed nails, almost like claws. Think Mr. Hyde. Human, but not. Their shirt is torn, like Hulk style. Like it hasn't completely come off, but it's torn and stripped, and spattered with blood as well.
I think Brownwood would just freeze, just stand perfectly still, like a deer.
And as calmly as is reasonable under such panicked circumstances, just gonna mutter back in the general direction of Charles. Fucking told you so.
If Audrey can, she's gonna try to get close enough where the mace will reach its eyes, but from as far away as possible.
It takes a couple of steps.
Charles looks over, and even though he's about ready to wet himself, he sort of like out of the side of his mouth, he goes, when I say to, grab Branwyn and run as hard as you can.
I
And-
do have a specialty in hiding. I was just about to.
Charles is going to sort of like take a few steps forward towards whatever this thing is, brandishing, I'm guessing, some kind of kitchen knife that he managed to grab from the diner before he left. It's probably not a big kitchen knife.
I think she wants to yell at it, though. I think she's gonna come out and ask, "Who are you?"
Oh God, can I like clap my hand over her mouth and shut her up? For the love of God, stop talking.
Yes. I'm sorry. Like, it's so hard.
Basically Val's just like, for the love of God, stop talking.
It's so hard sometimes to go against your like.
Hey there.
Just as a role player, to be the character. You're like, no, I gotta do this.
It takes a couple more steps and starts to kind of hunch down, bending its legs. If any of your characters has ever owned a pet that can jump, you know what's about to happen.
Have I been able to spray it with the pepper spray, or has it?
Well, we haven't. What we're going to do here is we're going to, like, everybody was kind of preparing themselves. I wanted to see where everybody was going. We're going to go into an action sequence in the game.
Nice.
Not specifically referred to as combat. It's an action sequence. It has to do with, this is where we break down into rounds and turns so that we can kind of keep track of what everybody's doing. The way it typically works in the game is, for the record, for people who are watching as well, you'll notice I'm never rolling any dice. I don't have dice. I don't have stat blocks of monsters in front of me. It's the game is entirely player facing, which means that action sequences like this are primarily entirely player facing as well. I don't have a turn that's like set in stone. Usually what happens is I will cause things to happen whenever they seem dramatically appropriate and are, create interesting challenges for the characters to overcome. And then, of course, also whenever players fail on their trait checks, that opens up the opportunity for a complication, and a complication can always be an escalation of whatever situation you're in. So let's do this. The thing jumps at it's got to be Branwen, because Branwen looks like a victim, looking kind of scared and frozen. Jumps toward Branwen, and we're going to have you make a heart check, target number 5.
Okay.
Actually, let's make this a body check, target number 5. You're frozen, but like you're not going to just, this is a dodge basically to get out of the way. This is like,
yeah. Well, that's what I was preparing to do anyway, because I have the hiding, and I figured there was maybe like some trees or something alongside the road. I was going to sort of dive sideways into that.
There's alleyways. There's cars parked.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Things.
We're in a residential area. So, so I would like be diving into a set of cars. I just spilled all my dice into my lap. But look at this. Isn't this adorable?
Oh, jeez.
It's so cute. Oh, I'm losing more dice. Okay.
Way to take all the horror out of the game.
I know. I'm so great.
That's okay.
Okay, sorry. Wait, was it heart?
I'll freak everybody out. Body. Let's make this like a physical body. Like
Body. Ooh, one
check.
whole dice. Ooh. And it's a 6.
Okay, so you mark a spirit. You dive out of the way of this thing, and then we're going to go into your turns. The great thing about this game is who goes first. We don't make checks unless any of you contest each other on it. But you can basically decide the person who wants to go first goes first, and then that person decides who goes next, and that person decides who goes next until everybody is gone in a turn, and then we start over. And that turn order can change from round to round.
All right. Well, since I'm in the process of diving into the cars to avoid the monster, I will immediately attempt to hide.
Okay.
So, like, I crawl under a car or something like that.
Sure, that'll be a body check as well, and you've got some. Sounds like you've got.
Okay, and I have a specialty. So does that give me an extra die?
Gives you advantage, yes.
Okay.
target number. It's dark. Target number 4. Not terribly difficult to hide in
I got
darkness.
2 4s.
Okay. You hide, and when you get when you get 2 hits like that, you also gain a boon, so something beneficial beyond just succeeding, or you just succeed really, really, really well.
Okay, what if the monster kind of like dings and like bashes into the car, one of the cars as it?
Sure, it slams itself into the car, setting off a car alarm.
Right.
And you hide.
I'm well hidden.
And then you move one toward whichever end of the track you're closer to, or spend a spirit to move the other direction, if that's the way you want to go. And who goes?
No, I'm good. I'm hiding now. I'm gonna stay.
Who's next? Who goes next? Shireen.
Well, I think Charles was also Audrey was ready to spray, so now would probably be a good time now that it's sort of stumbling.
Sure.
Yeah, great. I spray him in the face.
All right. Well, kind of a dexterity, hand-eye coordination sort of thing. So body check. You want to get him in the face, but these things, like typically, they put up quite a cloud. You're not terribly far away. Target number 5. Body check.
Ooh, I got 1 hit.
Marcus Spirit. You get this thing right in the face with pepper spray. It howls really, really loud. And the howl is part beast, part animal, but also part human. Like you feel in your gut that you've just actually hurt a person too. Like there's someone underneath all of this, whether they have chosen to do this to themselves or whether it's been done to them, or like it's hard to know, but there's a person underneath there. Who goes next?
Can I ask a quick question? So in
Sure.
talents, the ones that don't have an A, they don't require an action.
Correct.
So would I be able to do one of them now, if that's okay?
Sure. Yeah, your action was pepper spraying the thing.
Cool.
What do you got?
I'd like to spend a spirit to sense the secret, ask you a yes or no question about the monster.
Sure.
So it seems like they might be part human. Do I recognize the human or suspect who the human might be underneath this?
It is a yes or no question, so I'm not going to tell you who it is, but you know this person.
Okay, thanks. Next, I think I'm not sure how brave Charles is feeling. I feel like Val might step in mainly because it was her cousin. So I feel like that would, have driven her to action. I don't know what she's gonna do.
I mean, you're not wrong that it's potentially driving me to action, but since it is my turn, Branwyn dove and successfully dodged the creature, which stumbled into a car, set off a car alarm, and now it's been maced, and it's just so basically, in the immediate, Branwyn looks like she's hiding, and I don't give, I don't really care too much to try hard to defeat this thing. A quick question: that the whole there's a human under their realization, is that something that would be obvious to even me, especially with my background?
That's something that you all sort of can kind of recognize, that this is like it's all the clues together, right? They're wearing clothing. The face and the facial features are kind of mutated, and they've become something else, but there's like generally a human kind of face underneath there.
Right. Okay. So then in that case, what I then am going to do, since it appears that my cousin is out of the most immediate danger, I'm going to use my talent and my action to do Forgotten's camouflage. If all I do is hide, no one finds me. So basically, I am going to melt back into the shadow of, an alleyway, and basically John Cena can't see me. Do I need to roll anything, or is that just all I'm doing is hiding? So basically, I'm hidden.
It does what the ability says.
Okay.
If there's something that if the talent gives you a bonus or requires you make a check, it'll tell you Like,
Okay.
you gain a bonus to this check, or make this check and this happens. If it just says you do something, then you just do it.
Cool. Then I am hidden.
Like, that's it. I am out of here. And
Bye.
I guess that means I guess that
Apparently, our family plays a lot of hide and seek. I guess we're like town hide and seek champions.
I've taught you well.
for those people who like the horror movies, Ready or Not. There's a movie called Ready or Not, built around hide and seek. It is spectacular. Please watch it. It is the most effed up game of hide and seek you'll ever watch. And I believe it's Charles's turn. Knees shaking and trembling in fear. Charles, what do you got?
Trying to think, is there like a tree branch or something heavy that Charles could pick up, as opposed to like stabbing this thing with a knife?
Sure.
Because I'm assuming he sort of realized that this is or was a person at some point.
Right.
So rather than wanting to kill this thing, he just wants to, for the time being, kind of incapacitate it, get it to where it's at least not, clawing people up anymore. So he's going to try to pick up this heavy thing. And
let's say there's one of those street side trash, like metal trash barrels that's empty. Like it got emptied out. It's just the metal thing you can pick. It's it's a little unwieldy, but it's metal.
And so knees shaking, sweating profusely at this point. He's got to choose fight or flight. He chooses fight. He picks up this metal thing and then just charges it and tries to hit it with the metal barrel.
I'm imagining a Scooby-Doo where you turn it upside down and try to get him over the head and pin him inside.
Yeah, actually, he will do that. That's perfect. Because that'll blind it too and give us all a chance to get away.
It's made of mesh. It's got like the wire mesh, so it kind of still see through it, but it would impede the thing.
I mean, buy us a few crucial seconds.
Sure.
All right, so that's going to be a body.
Body check. We'll call that a target. It's kind of messed up. It's not paying attention to what's going on around it. Target number 5. Body check, but you're at disadvantage.
Okay, and I can spend a spirit to gain another dice.
To gain a die. Yep.
Okay, so would that just be then just a regular check?
Makes you lose a die, you gain a die, so you're back to a normal check.
Okay, I got 1 hit.
Okay. You get this thing kind of over the top of it, over its shoulders, enough to kind of impede it. You didn't manage to get it like pushed all the way down and really, stuck inside the thing. That would have required a boon if you'd gotten two hits. But the thing has now it smashed itself into a car. It's been pepper sprayed and it's kind of impeded. So, Charles, who goes next? At this point, the creature, the Hyde, the thing, starts like running. It's not running like in circles, like not knowing where it's going because it can see through the mesh of the wire trash barrel or trash can. But it's like it's almost using like its upper body and this thing as a bludgeon. It's like it's swinging it around and trying to smash into any of you. As it wrestles to try to get the thing off of itself.
Probably Audrey, since me and her are really the only two that are in sight of this thing currently. As Charles quickly tries to survey the situation and realizes that half of his group is now gone.
Kinda.
Okay. I think Audrey is going to use her talent, just what I needed. So I'm going to spend a spirit and pull out just the right item for the occasion from my purse. I want some way to restrain it, and I can't think what she would have in her purse. I mean, handcuffs would be ideal, but I doubt she actually carries those.
Skipping rope.
Zip ties.
Zip ties? Yeah, maybe zip ties.
Yeah, basic zip ties. I'm just trying to think. Like I'm thinking like you've got kids. Is there anything you would carry because you have kids? Not that you want to like tie your kids up, but like an
A
object.
child leash.
Do you ever put the 10-year-old on a leash? Do you have a dog? Does your character have a dog?
Oh.
You might have a leash that you
Yeah.
like an extra leash that you just keep in the purse all the time.
Yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, okay, so she's gonna pull out extra leash, and she's going to try to, restrain it. But I'm wondering, so how contained is it in this thing?
Well, it's imagine the trash barrel's upside down. That's come down over its shoulders and is kind of to its upper arms, like not all the way down. Like its head is not touching the top of the barrel.
Okay.
So and it's just struggling like this, and eventually it's going to kind of pop that thing off of itself. But it's also just slammed into a car and it's been pepper sprayed, so it's not necessarily thinking clearly about how to just reach up and kind of lift the thing off of itself. So trying to tie it, I mean it's got enough movement available to it, and it can flail around enough that you're at most you're probably going to be able to like get the rope, get the leash around it one time, and then like just tie it in a knot.
He has hands behind his back or something.
That getting its hands bound, getting its wrist bound, that would be a whole process of like actually like wrestling with it.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how adept she'll be at this. Well, it'll be interesting to see. I think what I would try to do is get it around its feet. So kind of like throw it so that it swings around, and then how like leashes have that the handle part at the
Sure.
end. Loop the metal bit through
Okay.
try to get its feet tied together and
Use that like a noose around its ankles.
exactly. Yeah. If it goes really well, maybe she even it knocks him over. I don't know.
Okay, so you're basically creating a snare.
Yeah.
So sure, body. Yeah, it's gonna be like timing it physically, getting the thing down there in the right when it steps, and body check target number 6. This is tough. But you have spirit and other capabilities at your disposal.
I would also like to use my confidence is contagious to help out. I yell at her, just like Tommy Hopkins in sophomore year.
Whatever that means, right?
Whatever that means.
I love it.
I imagine it was part of some prank that Charles played.
doesn't need to be explained. That's the beauty of like the small town. These people have known each other for so long. They have this shared history and inside jokes, and yeah.
And it's one spirit adds another die too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I'll do that. So 46. Let's see. Oh nope! I got 1, 1, 3, 2.
So that is gonna be mark a skill. You don't get. I'm gonna say you get the thing looped and you get it down there around 1 foot, and you don't manage to catch the other foot, and then it moves that 1 foot, and so the noose tightens and it pulls the leash out of your hand. So now it's got this leash on its leg. But you don't have, you're not holding on to it, and it's taking your weapon away from you, essentially, in the process. And in the process, it gets the barrel off of itself as it's struggling.
There was something I was going to do at some point, if that's cool.
Yeah. So I would choose who goes next. I'll say Brennan, if you got an idea, go for it.
Yeah, and suggestions are welcome. Like the person choosing who goes next doesn't have to do it in a bubble.
Yeah.
Like, you can always request it. Like if you've got a bright idea, which it sounds like you do.
I had, the phone in my pocket with the light. And so when she was in hiding, she put it on record. And now she's going to record this. She wants to jump out in front of the creature with the flashlight and shine it like right in its face to distract it as she is going to kick it between the legs. that is an effective takedown. So that's the only thing she knows how to do. She's not much of a fighter.
Okay. And this thing it's big and hulking and struggling, and it's gotten itself free. It knows it's in a fight. Body
Yes.
target number 6.
Okay, but I get
Called shot in a real fight that it knows it's But you have ways of getting
because it's something I've never done before. I get an advantage.
You've never kicked a monster in the nards before?
No, Wolfman's got nards. That was body.
Yep.
You said
Body check.
Okay, and then I'm gonna spend a spirit for another dice because I only have one body.
Don't we all only have one body?
Oh no! That's a 2, a 3, and a 4.
Oh. Okay.
Do I get some kind of poker bonus for getting
getting it straight? Sorry, no.
No.
But you get a great complication, which you have earned for everybody in the group, as the thing.
Huzzah!
At this point, kind of, its face is still it's got the the pepper spray. Its eyes are watering and everything, and it's still kind of affected by that. But it's gotten out. It's not leashed. It's not. It's no longer trash canned. So it's fully functioning. You didn't kick it in the jimmies, and it goes over. It picks up Jay, the limp, unconscious form of Jay, over its shoulder, and starts to run away from all of you with him.
And I'm yelling, "Oh my god, no!" But I'm filming it as it's going.
And we're going to take a short break. We'll pick up again with everybody keep a track. We were in this round where Bronwyn, Audrey had gone.
Me and Charles hadn't gone in this round
yet. The
yet.
two of you had not gone. So okay, we'll be back in just a minute or two. Well, let's see, 5 minutes or so. Let's call it 2:34, give or take. Hello again. We are back. Little longer than initially planned, but that's good to know for the future too. We might our breaks. We might let them be a little bit longer, just because I don't want to put anybody under pressure of getting back to to the computer screen in 5 minutes because I said so. That's no good. So anyway, yeah, we were in the middle of dealing with a Hyde, let's call it for lack of a better term, and the thing had picked up the unmoving body, unconscious body of the second string high school quarterback, and was bounding, starting to move away from the group of you. And when we wrapped up, it was we were on Audrey's turn, and who goes next? Of Charles and Valerie.
Yeah, I think it was Brandon had.
Oh, sorry. Was it? Who went last?
I think Branwen went last.
It was Branwen. Sorry, Branwen.
And
Okay,
so it's either going to be Valerie or Charles next.
that's your call, Branwen.
Oh, Valerie.
Okay. Well, what I'm about to do is probably not going to make me very popular with some of the characters in here, but basically from my perspective, sooner or later this town gets everybody. And, Coach Brown just ate it, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if he's going to live or die. This guy is, a mutant. And then we've got the little shithead second string quarterbacker that's unconscious. Like, I'm just having a tough time caring about some of those things. So I'm not saying that I'm not going to help, but it's just like, it's maybe not as charge in there and to the rescue. It's like, do I really have to do this? And it's really only because people are probably going to judge me harshly if I don't. So I'm going to trying to see from my sheet what might be a good thing here. Gosh, I'm going to basically what I'm trying to fight smarter, not harder. And I know full well at this point, my not incredibly sharp folding knife is not going to help against this thing. And I'm not going to throw it because that's a bad idea. My best stat is mind. I want to be smart. So I want to see if there's any way to use mind to help me, like either impede the monster thing or, give myself some other advantage in trying to get to it. And I'm just struggling with what that might be. Open to potential suggestions from the group on this.
If you're looking to still looking to physically confront it, I'll entertain suggestions. Certainly, you're in the position with it, fleeing or retreating or whatever. You could follow it and try to just stay out of sight and see where it goes, and then you could regroup. You could try to lure it someplace where it might end up getting trapped, or even not trapped necessarily, but like you could lure it and steer it so that it goes where you want it to go, so that you put yourself in an advantageous position if you want to confront it now or later.
Okay, that right there actually seems like a good idea, because I have a specialty in escaping, and because of moving down the sway track, I also am into the section to gain advantage at avoiding monsters. So basically, since I'm going to be good at getting out of a sticky situation, I'm going to go the path, the route of trying to lure it into a place that basically I know I can't fight it, but other people in the group may be. So I'm just going to try and re-lure it into an alleyway that doesn't have an exit, so as to make it easier for the rest of the group to go in and do their stuff. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay. Well, it's let's see, Bestial Mind. It's just trying to get away, so it wants to keep on the move. Mind target number 5.
Line target number 5. Okay. And at the moment, I'm not trying to escape or avoid it, so there's no other advantages just yet. I'm just doing straight up mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right. I have 2 hits.
Okay.
622.
Move one on the
662.
Move one on this way track, and you are able to kind of it's slowed down because it's carrying a a strapping athletic high schooler, a big person, and so you kind of. It starts to go one direction, so you start to kind of get out in front of it, and it's trying to stay, get away from all of you. So you're basically leading it. You're just by being in its way, you're making it turn and go other places.
Corralling it.
And you're looking for a dead end. So sure, easy enough to say there's an alleyway that not strictly dead end. Dead end alleys are actually pretty uncommon, but there's an alleyway where there's some construction that's been going on. So there's like a truck that's turned partway, kind of jackknifed a little bit into the alleyway, and there's some construction materials and things. Like if the thing really tried, it could like squeeze through or climb over some things, but it's otherwise sort of a dead end.
The point is, I'm slowing it down. I'm getting it in a place that's inconvenient to get out of. Perfect. All right.
So you do that, and I'm going to say the boon out of that is the fact that you're putting it in a place where they're makeshift. But there are weapons here. There's construction material. There's timber and scraps of metal and things that can be used.
All right.
And this is just like a block down the road. Like this happens relatively quickly. And the other characters, you kind of see that Valerie steers the beast into an alleyway where, because you've all been living in this town, there's construction going on down there. So you know what it looks like down there.
So that being my action for the turn, that means Charles, I'm so basically in character like, Charles, over here, I've got it cornered.
Now, real quick note for Charles, particularly given that he's a leadership type, and for the group in general, we can continue in action sequence and taking turns. You've also got a situation where like this thing has gone down there. If we wanted to break out of that momentarily and kind of go into a little more freeform a little bit for the group to discuss what to do, and keep in mind that time is of the essence because the thing isn't necessarily going to just hang around at the end of the alley like it's a video game waiting to be smushed. So you could kind of call everybody together and try to do that as well. I don't want to force a long action sequence of turns unless we absolutely if you're all on board for that, rock and roll, let's do it.
I was just following it with.
But there are ways to take a little break, and you can make a plan.
Yeah, I think Charles is going to do that. I think Charles is going to sort of try to gather everyone together real quick and be like, okay, so we've got this thing temporarily cornered. We've got construction materials and stuff like that in the alleyway. But I don't think approaching it I don't think we can physically overwhelm this thing. We need to be smarter than that. We need to try
What if we're just nice? What if it's like a scared animal?
I mean, that's fair, but we'll call that plan A, and then we'll also have a plan B through H, just in case things go wrong.
I roll my eyes at you, Brandon. I don't say anything, just roll my eyes.
Okay.
I feel it, and I sense it, and I pointedly ignore it.
So, like I said, we'll call that plan A, but we need to have a plan in place in case negotiations very quickly fail. Charles expects them to fail above the table. So what?
Build a cage?
Okay. I don't think we can build a full cage, but we might be able to pin it or, use different materials located at the site to try to get it pinned or...
You do have the trash, the empty trash can as well still that it shrugged off.
Okay. We could use the empty trash barrel to pin its arms. It's still got the leash. We've still got the leash attached to its leg.
Are there pallets?
Yes,
at the
absolutely.
site? Okay, so I'll grab a pallet and I'll like hold it up in front of me, like a shield almost. And be like, hey, if we all go in like this, we can like make a square and
But for how long?
to calm it down and then tie with the leash. And get that what's his face out of there.
You hear a howl.
Come on.
Did you say he had picked up, the monster had picked up the body that was here?
The quarterback, Jay.
Okay. I think that's probably Audrey's like number one thing. It's like, well, we've gotta do something quickly because we've got to get the injured high school, I think, away from it before he hurts it some more.
So maybe if I serve as a distraction, get its attention, the rest of you who are maybe a little bit better adept at moving from the shadows can wrap up its legs, limit its mobility, and then I can try and get the bin over its head. We grab Jay and get out of there.
Sounds good. Let's go.
Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan to get us killed, but we'll try it.
Well, if things go horribly wrong,
And they will.
We'll meet up back at the diner.
well, Valerie, I expect
We
you to
need
get
to
everyone
move.
out of, he says, Valerie, I expect you to get everyone out of here.
And you're
Have fun with that.
You're saying all of that as you're heading down that block.
Yes, as we're moving.
Yeah.
And all of this, this discussion between the group of you was like out of breath, panicked, quick, faster than what it actually took the group of you as people in
Yes.
the real world to go through
Yeah.
this. Like this whole plan was formulated in about a minute, and you get around the corner and you see down in the alleyway. It's dark. The body of Jay. I shouldn't keep calling him the body of Jay, but Jay, because as far as we know, he's alive. Jay is lying on the ground, kind of at the end where the construction equipment and materials kind of dead end the alley, and the creature is like hunched over it with its back to you, and so you can't see. It's doing something. Like there's motion, there's movement. It's doing something, but you can't see from its broad-shouldered back that is blocking your view, and it's hunched down low enough that it's kind of obscuring the whole torso area of Jay.
I get a bad feeling about this.
Okay, I'm going to sort of motion for the rest of you to sort of take up positions where you're out of sight.
Okay. I'm gonna
Easy enough.
I'll pick up a board, like nothing huge. Meh. And then I'm gonna kind of sneak like maybe along one wall, along its back.
You said that there's a construction area in this, so I'm assuming that among other things there can perhaps be tools and stuff. I'm kind of hoping that maybe there's something along the lines of a shovel, something kind of longish. Basically, I need a pole arm essentially thing. I'm not too picky about what's at the other end, so shovel, hammer, whatever. As long as it's got a long arm,
Shovels
Okay,
workable.
yeah, shovel. Cool.
Construction workers aren't going to just leave everything lying around necessarily. They're going to have their tools locked up, but like to have a few things that got left out, that's okay. As we decide what those are, like you like, hey, there's a shovel. There's a shovel, sure.
Cool, shovel.
And the thing, as you kind of work your way in, and everybody starts to kind of ready themselves and approach, the creature continues kind of hunched down um, hunched over Jay's body. You can't really see Jay. You can only see Jay from the waist down. And then it, from behind, you see it throws something. Just something goes flying out of its hand, and you hear, just barely, briefly, momentarily, the sound of glass shattering. And then the thing rises up, and I'm gonna need this is hiding, right? Or sneaking. This is like sneaking up on it, because it's got its back to you. You're trying to not step on a twig and pull a Han Solo. Everybody give me a body check. Target number
I am not trying
4,
to sneak.
because it was really concentrating on something else. It wasn't trying to listen or be prepared. So target number 4, body.
I'm not trying to hide. I'm trying to get its attention.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So can I make a?
So you can be middle. You can be middle of the middle of the alleyway. Hey, over here, big boy. Getting its attention one way or the other, and everybody else is kind of like nook and crannying along the walls of the two buildings, where the various tools and construction materials are kind of stored up against the wall. So people are finding different spots to kind of be out of sight.
So am I correct in assuming that I have a specialty in hiding and sneaking, so that's going to give me advantage, but I'm guessing then this is not going to stack with the giving advantage to avoiding monsters from the sway track, right? It's just one instance.
It's just advantage one time.
Cool. Got it. One hit.
I also got one hit.
So everybody's making a check. I'm going to go down the roll here. Okay, so Bronwyn, you managed to hide. Valerie, you hide. Audrey?
Yeah, I also got one hit.
Everybody marks a spirit. Mark a spirit. Hey, Chuck, what do you got?
Can I make a charm to sort of get its attention and keep its attention focused on me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Target number 5.
Okay, I got a hit.
Okay, and you mark a spirit as well. One thing I'm going to do real quick, anybody, because we kind of glossed over this, and I do want to kind of make sure we're hitting on the rules. Look at your character's anchors. For like what we dealt with for the first half of this session. If you have if any of those anchors applies, if your character was acting in line with any of those anchors, let me know, and feel if you can give yourself a spirit in the process of doing that. That's one of the ways. From a design standpoint, this is a little cheat to tell people how this works. If your anchors are basically personality traits or things, characteristics about your character that when you are functioning kind of in alliance, appropriately to them, it gives you a way to gain some spirit, because otherwise gaining spirit is entirely dependent upon rolling. And sometimes, as we all know, the dice go cold and you never roll that one hit that you always need to gain spirit. So this is a way to make sure that people can gain some spirit otherwise. So everybody, real quick round from everybody. Bronwyn,
what are they?
Feel free to shout out just if you have one of your anchors that you stuck to appropriately.
Well, one of mine is curious.
Oh, absolutely. You went looking.
And yeah, I am very I have wide-eyed and curious. So she's just very what is that? What is that thing? What does this do? That's very much sort of her attitude.
Anyone else?
So yeah, but I have plenty of spirit at the moment. So
okay, well, I kind of expect that to be the case. By all means, spend it.
I can't tell if adaptable or trust no one played out, but I feel like I've been both of those things at least.
Yeah.
You've been hardcore trust no one. You've been an antagonist within the group.
All right, then I'll take a spirit.
I have been. My anchors are shrewd, charming, and cunning.
You were charming in the diner earlier. Totally charming.
Yeah, on the role-playing end of it, until you blew that charm check. But that's okay. That you can, as long as you were trying. And Audrey?
Yeah, so my 3 are determined, loyal, and moral. I think she's been kind of more, she's definitely been we've got to go help them. We got to do the right thing.
That's very
Oh
moral.
yeah.
Okay. So everybody gains a spirit off of that too. So just a way to, and keeping in mind that you have a maximum spirit, like your spirit track is only so long. So you are encouraged to spend it when you have the opportunity to use powers or talents, or to to put it into the dice rolls, even if you don't think you need the die roll. Guarantee, make it more likely that you will make that check, even if you're already rolling 3 or 4 dice. That's what the spirit. That's what spirit's there for.
Okay, so as we go to attack, like to get this monster, right? We're trying to sort of. I have this board. I was thinking back of the knees.
Let's
was my thought.
Let's cover. Hold on, can I back up just a moment? Cover real quick what Charles's 2 hits mean.
Yeah. I'm
so
sorry. I'm
that's okay.
Out loud.
I sidetracked us into the spirit and anchor thing, so we lost track. That's fine. But real quick, so that before you're going to take an action, a little bit about what's going on here. Yeah, absolutely. You succeeded with 2 hits, right, Charles? 1. Sorry. Okay, I apologize. Just 1. So yeah, you've got its attention. Like, it's focused on you. So that puts the rest of you in the position of, depending on what you do, you might have advantage if it's not paying attention to you. Until you get its attention.
My power is make it real. Spend 1 spirit, conjure 1 item that you can hold in 2 hands. It remains real until the end of the scene. So I think as she's going along holding this board, she's thinking, we had like a net? That would be the most useful thing in the world. Like we could catch the guy with it.
Sure.
And so as it sort of becomes that.
Well, how about so that you can even explain it away, because this is effectively, just to explain, this is essentially a magical effect. This is something that, because the town is weird and there's weird stuff that happens here.
I wanted to bring them spooky stuff.
But you could make it. You could even make it like you've seen. It's like, imagine if you've got construction material that's on the back of a truck and you've got a tarp over it to kind of hold it all in place, but instead of a tarp, it's a net. It's like a straps of canvas that are kind of netted, like that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. That's used to kind of keep it so that stuff's not going to shift around on the back of the truck if you got like a flatbed truck or something like that. So you could make it that, so it looks perfectly reasonable that you came across this even.
Yeah, but so it looks perfectly reasonable, but and of course no one can see me because I hid very well.
Yep.
But as the camera, the audience sees,
sure,
it is sort of a slow transformation in my hands as I'm sneaking up on this thing.
And you have a net.
And then I have to go down on the sway, I believe, because I used that power.
What does it say for the power?
It's 1 chaos. It says make it real, chaos, spend 1 spirit.
You spend 1 spirit. You don't move. You don't move on the sway track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if it just says spend 1 spirit, you just do that.
Okay. And then I did that. Yeah. Whoops. Okay. And then I guess when I get a chance, I will try to. Whoosh.
Just quick. Ando, you had a question.
Yeah, it's just on looking at the spirit track on my playbook. It says mark 1 for 1 hit, mark 2 for 2+ hits. And in the game so far, I thought whenever we've been getting 2+ hits, you were saying go on the sway track, but not marking spirit. Am I misunderstanding something?
You move. Well, I might have got it written wrong on the character sheet, but basically on the sway track, you move 1 if you get 2 or more hits.
Right, but the spirit track says you mark 2 on the spirit track if you get 2 or more hits. It says so right here on spirit. Mark 1 for 1 hit, mark 2 for 2+ hits. Am I the only one seeing this?
No, hold on.
Nope.
I want to see if this is just a typo. What did I do? I may have. On spirit, it says mark 1 for 1 hit.
Look at the Forgotten. It says mark 2 for 2+ hits, unless something changed.
It says it on mine too.
Yeah, also mine.
Yep.
No, ignore. Sorry, I apologize. Ignore that. That was an earlier iteration of the rule before the sway track had gotten built.
Didn't mean to derail everything. I just
That's
suddenly
okay.
realized I've gotten 2+ hits a couple of times.
Nope. Ignore that. That's. I will make a note that I got to get rid of that.
That's what playtesting.
Yay, playtesting.
The pillar is done correctly, I guess, because
Yeah.
it doesn't say that on mine.
I've marked it out on mine.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'll make a note. Yeah, ignore the 2+. Yeah, sorry. So if you overmarked, if you marked too much spirit, you know, and just use your best guess and mark yourself back down.
I haven't gotten 2 hits yet, so looking
Because
forward to that.
basically what it came down to was, yeah, if you had there was at one point there was not a sway track early in the design, and there was more that you could do with spirit, so I wanted more ways that you could gain spirit, so that you'd be constantly gaining it and constantly spending it. And then I hit on the idea of the sway track, and all that changed, but I didn't change the character sheet. Oops. Lessons, everybody, for game designers out there. Oopsie. Okay, we're squared away. All right.
Yeah, I crossed it off, so I.
All right, so we're basically you know, we can roll this, call this, you know, at some point somebody's going to do something that's going to essentially put us into a action sequence again.
Yeah. I'm going to wait until, like, I'm sure that because Charles was distracting.
Okay, so yeah, let's see if Charles got something
do
up
the
his
distraction.
sleeve. So you've got his attention. You've got the creature's attention.
Okay, Charles is gonna say, don't know if you know me. I'm Charles Forthright. It's very nice to make your acquaintance. You seem to have quite an interest in Jay over there. A personal grudge, or maybe you care a great deal for him. I'm trying to like watch the beast as I say these things to him, trying to see if it's either irking his anger or like it's
Right.
like making any movements to where like when I mention Jay, it sort of turns its head and looks at him, or something like that.
Give me a mind check. This is kind of a sense, like sense motive, sensing, kind of trying to get a sense of how the creature's reacting.
Okay. And
Target
I'm gonna
number 5.
I will spend a spirit. 1 hit.
When you mention Jay, there's a bit of like the thing is kind of slowly walking toward you, and when you mention Jay, it kind of stops. Like it doesn't completely stop moving, but it like stutters on its motion, and it kind of in like almost like in recognition, like it recognizes something that you said, and it looks back behind itself just very briefly to Jay, and then it looks back to you, and it continues to walk forward, but more slowly, with its head sort of cocked, like it's trying to figure out what's happening here. Bronwyn, you're kind of focused on the thing you're doing there. Audrey and Valerie, give me a mind check. This is a senses-oriented sort of thing. Target number 6.
My best stat. I'm going to go ahead and pop my lucky or not power again. Before I make this check, I'm going to guess I'm going to get 1 hit on this. Please. That is 1 hit. Yes.
So you gain So you make your check with 1 hit. You gain a spirit in the process. Audrey, you got what?
I got 1 hit as well.
Okay, so each of you, when the creature looks back at Jay, your focus from your hiding spot shifts back to Jay as well, and you see that back at the end of the alley there, kind of in that darkness, Jay is starting to sit up, very, very slowly.
Got a bad feeling about this.
Charles, let's we did it as a role play thing rather than an action, a trait check sort of thing. So you've got it. It's not attacking. It's not charging you. It's still walking toward you, but it's very slow and it's kind of looking at you quizzically. So who goes next?
Well, because I was focused, I was thinking about trapping this thing, right? And I don't see the other guy sitting up.
Yeah, you can hand it off to Bronwyn.
Yeah, let's hand it off to Bronwyn with the net.
Yeah. I guess I don't see this guy. I'm more focused on the creature.
Yeah, you were watching it and kind of like timing your moment. Like, when's it going to get to be the optimal point where it's like it's moved past me a little bit, so I'm not quite in its peripheral vision, and I've got my best chance.
Yeah, and then I'm going to pounce.
And going to jump out and net the thing.
Yes. Now, this is a running joke with my partner and I. In all of our games, we have our characters we have to have a net. It's always nets, team net. So I can also use my beginner's luck because, of course, I've never done this before. So. Is this going to be a body? Because
this is going to be body.
Okay.
Why
do I just keep deciding to do things with my lowest skill?
It's big, but it's not paying attention. We'll call it body target number 5 with advantage because it's totally not expecting this.
All right. Oh, I have advantage, so I have 1 more dice. Okay. Yeah. Time to die. Oh dear. That's a 2, and a 4.
You throw your net. It just sails over. It's heavier than you expected it to be, made of canvas like it is, and it just kind of slips out of your fingers, and it sails past and over the creature. The thing looks at you,
and I'm just
growls. Who's next? Bronwyn.
Well, okay. Who? Well, I guess.
Audrey or Valerie for the
Valerie because she.
Oh yeah,
feel a little defensive of me.
And Valerie, you see, just in conjunction with this, you see, Jay now get up into a crouched position. Like he's not fully standing up yet, but he's kind of getting up very slowly. He's kind of, seems like he's daintily almost kind of getting up.
I really don't like this.
Getting up very slowly.
Okay, so I'm now faced with the choice of I'm either going to try and clang this monster over the head, or I'm going to recognize that the footballer is no longer a footballer and clang him over the head. Either way, somebody's getting this shovel over the head. I'm gonna,
just somebody's gonna get shovel.
Somebody's eating the shovel.
I mean, like I said, I really have a bad feeling about Justin. Is that Jay? Jay. You said the guy's name is Jay. I've got a bad feeling about Jay, but I still, there's bigger threat coming from the big thing, so I will go with the big thing. So I'm gonna try and clang him with the shovel. I'm guessing that's gonna be body then, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going
target
to
number 5. It is.
I figured.
It knows it's been tricked.
I am going to spend one of my spirits to get another die because that's my lowest stat. So target number 5. Here we go. Please work. Oh, thank God. One hit. Oh, woo. It was a 5 and a 1. I was like, oh my God.
You clock it nicely. You've got its undivided attention at this point, and you can mark
I
a
don't
spirit.
doubt it.
And you can mark a spirit for that.
I mark a spirit.
And then I think it's Audrey's turn.
Yeah, it is. Go for it, Audrey.
As you see, Jay stands up into kind of a crouched position and then starts to scream, and his muscles ripple on his remember, he was found shirtless, and you see his shoulders and his upper arms ripple and get bigger, and he kind of falls into a crouch, and his face goes bestial. And he turns into one of these things. You witness essentially the Hyde-like transformation of Jay Navarro. And it's your turn.
Okay. So he was shirtless. Is his appearance changed at all? Like, are there?
He's hairier.
Okay. All right.
But you don't see wounds or you can ask a more specific question. I mean, you said you sound like do you see what?
Like scratches or something. I'm wondering if there's any sign of what led to the transformation, like physically on his body.
No, he looks like he looked before, except he's hairier now. He had a little bit of blood on him. And he had that bruise around his neck, and he still has that.
All right. I think I want to try to talk to him and see if I can get anywhere with this. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna. Audrey's gonna approach him cautiously and try to say, Jay, hey Jay, how you feeling, buddy? Coach Brown's in the diner. We should go see him. I think he got hurt. We need to go check on him. Right? Come on, buddy. Let's go see. And I'm just kind of curious how he's reacting.
He takes notice of you when you start speaking his name, and then he does the same sort of quizzical head turn, kind of really pays attention to you when you mention the coach's name. Like, he's recognizing the things you're saying. And you can make a charm check, if that's where you were gunning, to try to, basically get him under your sway, under your control, to kind of, not befriend, but a tick or two back from befriend. Like, you're presenting yourself as not a threat, and you're mentioning the coach that he supposedly has a relationship with. And
okay, cool.
So plan A is basically what we were talking about. Switching back to plan A.
Are you able to spend more than one spirit for more than one die?
No, just
one.
Just one.
Okay.
But we're going to do call a charm check target number 5, and we'll give you advantage because you're pressing the right buttons by mentioning the coach and using his name.
It's a 3, a 1, and a 1.
Oh, jeez. Marcus Gale, and you really tried to say all the right things, and the Hyde Jay looked at you, and then as you're saying these things, it kind of looks past you and sees Valerie holding a shovel and Bronwyn looking fierce. And it starts to clamber and climb over the material, the construction materials, and get the heck out of the back of Actually, we'll take that a step further. It jumps a good 7 feet in the air over the top of some of the piled up construction material and kind of disappears back behind it into the alley. However, the original beastie is still in front of the group of you. And I believe that's everybody went for this turn, so Audrey can pick who goes next. And that can be you. For the record, you can go a second time in a row like this.
I think I might tack on like a bonus action for one of my talents, if that's okay.
For your previous, okay.
Yeah. Spend a spirit. Oh, am I only allowed to spend one spirit a turn total?
Nope.
Is it?
If you've got multiple ways to spend spirit, you can spend them on those multiple things, unless there's a rule that says you can't. Unless the ability says you can't.
Okay. I might actually try the second part of this. Spend 2 spirit. I can ask a 4-answer multiple choice question of the GM. They must answer honestly.
Okay.
All right. I want to know. My question is, how is the beast monster able to transform other people? And I guess my 4-way answer. So probably one of the answers is going to be like some other way that I'm not, none of the above.
Yeah, like if you knew you only have four possibilities, you could give those 4 possibilities. But you ultimately, I'll have to think about the wording of that question. One of the answers might be none of the above. But it gives you 3 choices to choose from, so you can have.
Yeah. So I want to. So one of them. Like something physically transferred, like blood or a scratch or something, like some kind of physical, way of transferring something.
The attack type, the werewolf type thing.
Yeah.
Infection.
Some kind of something like that.
From a physical wound, attack, whatever. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Second one, some type of like ritual.
Mysterious magic-y thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I need. Does anybody have an idea for a third? Those are kind of the 2 I was thinking.
Yes. When we first came up, the monster leaning, hunched over him. He was doing something, and then he made a throwing motion. We heard breaking glass. My guess is that he poured something into Jay's mouth.
Okay. Yeah. Some kind of item or something. Yeah. That's I don't know, some kind of potion or item or something.
Sure.
Used. Okay, so those are my 3, and then none of the above.
Or none of the above. The classic Hyde formula. The answer is the classic Hyde formula. There is a cap lying on the ground, like a cap to a screw cap for a bottle, lying on the ground right where Jay was.
Okay, cool. So I guess in RP, I maybe found that and realized that.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Make that determination.
Sweet. It's been a while. I'll let Charles, you can go next.
Okay. Well, Jay has taken off. Priorities, since Jay seems to be one of those things now too, have changed slightly. I'm going to grab the metal barrel that I had earlier and try to get it around this thing's head to buy you guys enough time to where you can get out of the alley and run.
Okay. Body check. Target number 5.
Okay.
You've wielded this thing before, so it's not quite so difficult. You kind of figure, you know how heavy it is, like what you did wrong and what you did right. Well, actually, you did it. You did it right last time. You didn't get a boon on it, but you did okay.
1 hit, got a 6.
Okay, so you get him kind of the same way again. Like you get the thing over the top of his head, down to his shoulders, but not like pushed all the way down, like where his arms are like all up inside of it. Do you have anything else up your sleeve here? Otherwise, pick who's next.
Only this time can I once it's over his head, rather than letting it go and stepping away, I'm going to try to hold it.
Sure, you can hold on to him.
and try
That'll
to
just
keep him from getting over its head.
Yeah, it'll make it more difficult for him to free himself, but in the process, you're putting yourself in danger. So it's
Correct.
It's a balance of
And I just kind of yell
risk and
to
reward.
everyone. I let them know, run away right now.
Who's next?
Let's go someone who excels at that. Let's go Valerie.
If you're saying run away, I'm like, that's what I've been trying to say from the beginning, and I am off. I am dropping that shovel. I don't even care. Dropping the shovel, and I am just full on. The only thing I'm going to do as I'm passing by is tell Branwyn, obey me this time, child. Run. And I am just tearing out of that alley.
Okay, and I think that makes it Bronwyn's turn.
It does.
What do you got, youngster?
Sorry.
Your turn.
Okay. So I will. You know what? I will run. And I'm gonna, but I want to snag my net as I go.
Okay. That's
You know what I'm
fine.
going to do is I'm going to drag it behind me a little bit, and then I want to kind of leave it in a space, leave it sort of behind me to make him trip.
Well, I mean, you could drag it and run while you're dragging it behind you, and as long as you're kind of checking every so often, then you could strategically use it.
That's true.
Should the thing chase you.
I'll just book it, and I'll carry the net behind me.
Okie dokie. And we're back to the top of the order. Whose turn is it?
I guess that would
Audrey and Charles are the only two left in the alleyway.
So Charles, I guess. Audrey. Go,
next.
Audrey.
Okay, I guess Audrey's going to look around for any other evidence or any other vials of this stuff. Does she see anything as she glances around?
Quick glance around, mind check, target number. You're under, are you, well, here, let me ask you this. Are you planning to book out of here? Is this a quick glance, or are you hanging around for a while?
I think after this, she will probably stay and help Charles. She will probably, until he's ready to run also, she probably won't leave him alone with the thing.
Okay, give me a mind check, target number 5.
Okay.
Basically, I would make it a harder check if you were going to try to scour quickly before, as you're running away.
Yeah, I got a 6. 1 hit.
Mark of Spirit, you find a vial of liquid.
Cool. She's gonna grab that and put it in her purse and as securely as she can. And then if she still has any action, she's gonna go help Charles hold the thing on and be like, "What is the plan here? What are we doing?" And with that, I'll push it, to Charles as the next turn.
Bold of you to assume he had a plan.
Charles, if your plan here is to leave, then yeah, okay. Then
Charles says, "My plan was for everyone to run, so run." And with that, he's gonna try to just push it, to kind of push it so it's off of its balance.
Sure.
And then he will grab Audrey's hand and just bolt.
Okay, you grab Audrey's hand. Did Audrey go along willingly?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so the two of you take off. This thing is struggling with the trash can again for a bit. So briefly you have the moment where you can get out of there, and you take off down the street. One would assume you all turn kind of in the direction of the diner toward the flashing lights, and you you make your way down there to discover the paramedics putting the coach into the back of the ambulance. People are whispering the words "collapsed lung." And from far off in the distance, back from where you ran, you hear a howl. The four of you are all right. You have a net. You have no shovel. You have a vial of liquid. And there are at least 2 monsters in the darkness. And that is the end of the first session of Nowhereville. Hooray! Seemed like an appropriate spot to wrap, because I want to ask all of my players. I don't want to do this way if you don't feel comfortable doing that. I'd like to pick your brain a little bit, as far as like playtest feedback and that sort of thing. But are you all right with doing that here? In recording it and all that fun stuff, or do we want to wrap it up and talk privately?
I'm fine with.
Everybody's good with that. Okay, so anybody wants to unmute? Just some of the notes that I had. So for those people who are wondering about designing an RPG and like these early alpha playtests, just things that I jotted down as we were talking was, obviously I need to fix how the spirit track is described, because when things change in early iteration, you're like suddenly, I didn't change the that little bit of guideline text on the character sheet. Given that you're gaining a lot of spirit, and as a note, this game you start with only 8 points to spend on your traits, where in Good Strong Hands you started with 9, so you were more likely to have a 3 or even a 4 in a trait. So you'd be having traits where you'd be rolling multiple hits more often. This game seems like skewing more toward you're getting that one hit quite a bit, which means that you get spirit quite a bit, which means like, well, now people potentially will fill up on spirit. So I'm toying with the idea of can you convert spirit to skill in between sessions?
That I was gonna say, like, maybe another way to spend spirit, and then but then like some of the options in capers for Moxies were, I really liked the
more options for spirit where you can get other.
Yeah, because I really like
not just extra dice and not just activating.
Yeah, because I really like the one in capers where like you can influence the scene. Like, I could really use a crowbar right now.
Oh, sure.
So
sure.
You could spend
it's a narrative element. That was one thing.
Narrative element is like, hey, under this thing, I found a crowbar.
Let me find.
Like that would just kind of be handy, and I kind of like the vibe of keeping it like a bit, maybe a little more structured, a little bit more like a horror movie, in the sense of like the pacing. That was just a thought that went through my mind as we were playing.
Just a moment here. Capers like uses for spirit.
I think that was called Shape the Narrative.
Shape the narrative. Right, which is something that I didn't do with Good Strong Hands, because the whole game is built around the idea of the players are deciding all that stuff as they go. There's a lot more world building that's kind of expected to be handled by the players. So in a game that puts things a little bit more in the hands of the GM to decide what is or isn't available in the alleyway, for example. Like having you spending a spirit to say like I have a relationship with this character this way, or I happen to find a thing that's useful. Absolutely, that's a good idea.
Yeah, or even like especially because we have this small town dynamic, right? The idea that you could spend a spirit to remember something about this person, or recall something about this person's history that you've overheard.
I really like that idea because since the game is called Nowhereville, it's in the conceit of it is that everyone's trapped by the town, making the town itself, a more of a presence, and the fact that it's not only a small town but no one can leave it. So again, that all plays well into making a mechanic out of tapping into that shared small town history. I like the idea of making it more of a thing that you can tap into.
like there's almost like a town consciousness.
Yeah.
You know? Like
You're kind of reading my mind on what is actually the situation here. Little sneak peek into the why is Norville, why is this town weird, why does this strange stuff happen. I'm going to define it in the game book, and there's going to be more than one option.
Mm-hmm.
And so that way you can
a
GM can run the campaign the same time, even with players who have played before, and you can do it, and plus the GM can come up with their own thing, but I'm going to provide multiple options, probably 6, so that you can randomly roll it if you want to.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I like that idea.
But yeah, like or being able to maybe even like, yeah, I don't know, but I like the spookiness of it, and I like the but as I was saying, I kind of like the concept of like thinking of it a bit like a movie, because like I was imagining using my power when I was finally using my power. It was like something that would be revealed to the audience, but not necessarily to the other players, right? So I kind of like that sort of ability to do that, to like reveal things to the audience, to like the fourth wall.
This feels like it could go in the realm of like flashback inserts as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you decide,
that would be cool.
Like if you spend a spirit
and you could
to
have
say
a flashback.
If you spend a spirit to say you have a particular relationship with somebody, then we flash back and you do a 1-minute description, like just a quick narrative description. Me not playing the character because you're inventing this, like tell how did you become friends with this person?
Yeah, they worked at the coffee shop and I went there every day, and we got to know each other or whatever. Yeah, that's fun.
Out of curiosity, in your sort of like planning and hope for the balance of things, Craig, how frequently do you assume that people or maybe let me reframe it, in a given average session? I know it's not going to be exact, but like what's an average you think you would assume how much skill a given character might accrue in a given session, essentially how many fails?
I don't know.
That's part of what this is going to be. I just wonder because I technically only, like, I don't want to make this sound like a brag because it's not, but I only failed one skill. So like, I think a couple other people failed more. So I feel like even though I
failed like 3 or 4.
Better, yeah, so it's like I feel like I did better, except my character is going to advance less because I have not failed more. So, I mean, I don't really care that much, but I'm just saying that's an interesting balancing.
Right, and there's a balance to be struck there. But one thing to keep in mind is that if the only thing you're judging is who gets to advance faster, it's going to be the people who fail faster, who fail more. But when they fail more, they're going to gain more abilities that they're going to allow them to just do things without making checks, or they're going to be upping their trait checks and having more dice to roll, so they're going to fail less, so they're going to start, like, your skill progression is going to slow down the better you get. Also, if you are getting 1 or 2 or more hits, you may not be progressing your character and giving yourself something extra next session because you've advanced your character, but you're getting something extra this session. So you're always gaining something. You're gaining manipulation of the sway track and getting it to the power or ability that you want to be at. Or you're gaining spirit, which is and now we're making spirit even more useful. So even if you are getting those the one hit checks a lot, so there's a balancing act to it. But there was thought that went into like what happens if somebody just has a bad night with the dice and never makes a check, and they suddenly advance a bunch, or somebody else has a great night with the dice and they never fail anything, so they don't advance. In the long run, like in one session, you could see some real weird swings. Over the course of 10 sessions of a campaign, it'll kind of even itself out, unless there's just like, unless it's a really outlier situation where it's just like somebody just is really unlucky constantly.
And I figured it was just,
happen.
This is our first, it's our only our first session. I wasn't really worried too much.
But it's something to keep in
forward.
mind. It's something to keep in mind. Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons I wanted, because I knew that this is I wanted to run a campaign play test with this, because I wanted to see how people manage to manipulate the sway track over the course of multiple sessions, how their progression happens over the course of multiple sessions, because of how I've changed the use of the tracks, because the sway track is new. That's different than how it was in Good Strong Hands. In Good Strong Hands, getting a lot of successes actually moved you closer and closer to dark powers. And that game's coming soon, everybody. I'm just waiting on illustrations. So, and any other thoughts that anybody wants to throw out there? And if you don't have something this time around, that's fine. Don't feel like you must speak. It's the first session. You might just be kind of absorbing the whole thing. And if you think of something like, on Wednesday, you're suddenly like, oh my God, I just came up with the thing that'll make the game rock. Yeah, email me, tell me. Email me or DM me in Discord. But anyway, back to any other comments?
It's like overall pretty simple, pretty easy to pick up.
I just wanted to reiterate some of the comments that have already been made. Like, it's cool that the town has like a consciousness. That's pretty cool. I've only played so many RPGs, so I can only compare it. But it reminds me of like City of Mist, how the Mist has like this presence and is almost like a character, and that's really cool. And I like that. Yeah, it could be used in different ways. And the other thing is, like, I guess comparing to say like the Gumshoe system, like Nice Black Agents versus like Trail of Cthulhu, like in terms of the scale of like how powerful we are as people. I'm almost feeling like I'm just curious to see how it goes and if it continues. I'm thinking we kind of seem a little powerful. Like, I'm not too scared. And it would be interesting. I don't know how other people feel about this, but I prefer and this is my preference. I prefer like Trail of Cthulhu. We're like way in over our heads, more so than like Night's Black Agents, where you're like basically superheroes. Like, you're still in over your head with the vampires, but you like are pretty powerful. You almost always succeed. I feel like we were succeeding like a lot. I don't know. I'm curious to see as we play more if we start to feel like more and more scared, essentially.
See, I was terrified that whole time because I knew, especially with those, because I was making a lot of body checks, and my character and my type is not built for physical combat. None of us really are. So like every time I had to make a body check, I was like, oh dear sweet God, please pass. Oh dear sweet God, please pass. Because I was like, I am just one bad roll from things going very badly for one or all of us. Like every time my character was jumping out in front, it was because, okay, things are about to go really bad here, and I'm going to need to take a hit or two here for the party.
I was fully expecting to fail a lot.
I was fully expecting to fail too. See, I felt a great deal of tension because like that whole scenario was not really focused on a character who's built for talking. So like, which is probably why like the character of Valerie, who is focused on like hiding and being very stealthy, like you got a ton of successes. And that's why, because the situation was built around doing that, like not physically engaging, but hiding and sneaking and trying to, work your way around. Whereas like, if we were forced into a situation where like you couldn't hide, then things would be going very differently.
I'd been hosed.
Yeah. So
I think it's a part of it's a perception difference. Like Audrey, you gave yourself away when you said you're used to Trail of Cthulhu. Yeah, this isn't going to be Cthulhu. You're never going to be that out of luck. But there will be downsides to things. One of the things that I didn't touch on, just speaking from the design point of view, this was a conscious choice I made for this game session. Every time somebody failed a check and you were dealing with one of the monsters, I could have hit you with a condition. I could have put your character closer to death. I chose not to. I chose to have the complications be other things. And that was because we're all learning the system, and I didn't want to layer too many things on everybody in the first session. No. I wanted everybody kind of gets a sense of the basic mechanics. We figure out advantage and disadvantage and spending spirit. And like next session now, it's like you can expect that like if you blow a check with a monster, you may very well be getting your character's going to get hurt, and so things will become a little more dire. You'll take emotional or physical condition. So that might be something that you'll see happen, Audrey.
I guess to clarify that just a little bit, I think that's not the kind of things that scare me. Like I'm not worried about my character becoming afraid or like having a condition. The things that are more scary, I don't know, just like it's situation getting weirder with the creature, or I don't know how to explain this. I'm not explaining it right.
And it depends on what the scenario is. Like we may get to those types of things. Like Stephen King occasionally gets into like this is very King inspired, and I have a list of things that are kind of part of the world, and the really weird, crazy, wild, like cosmic horror, really bizarre stuff. There's a potential for that certainly, because it does pop up in King game. It just hasn't happened here. Like where the first story was kind of like, oh, it's a Jekyll and Hyde sort of situation, which is like. So it's a question of like, what we all run into. And I'm also tailoring, keep in mind too, I am tailoring what we're running into based on the lines and veils everyone chose. Mm-hmm. And so there's certain things that even though I personally would love to get super gory, that's not going to happen in this game. Because some people don't want to mess around with that stuff, and that's fine. But there's just certain things that I probably won't get quite.
Well, but it allows for so much variation.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking, what that made me think of.
Audrey, I'll say this: challenge accepted.
What that just made me think of, though, what you were saying about how the stakes were not so low. When I was thinking in terms of what I was saying, adding in concepts more like a movie, right? So you have an element of the stakes being fairly low at the beginning and then getting higher and higher and higher as they go, as the movie progresses, as we get closer and closer to the danger and the core and the source of the danger, the stakes become higher and we become more at risk. That feels more natural because that's sort of a story theme that we're used to, you know what I mean? In terms of a movie, like that's just sort of how movies work, where there's like a huge, the stakes and the closeness to the core of the monster problem rise together.
I'll have to give some thought to, is there a way to build like across the course of a story that maybe takes multiple sessions to play out? Is there a way to have phases, so to speak? Like in movies, you're talking acts. Act two is Act two works kind of a certain way, and then Act 3 does something different. Maybe there's a way to build something that's even reflected mechanically. It can be narrative also, of course, but then also maybe even mechanically that escalates. Like what happens when. Okay, things have escalated. It's like, well, it was just one monster and one person got hurt. So like we're using rule mechanic A. But then when you find out there are more monsters and everybody's in the town is terrified, and like there's rule mechanic B because the town
because now we've entered Act 2
instills this fear into people and even potentially affects the characters, even though they're the heroes. I'll have to give that some thought.
I think it would be a part of that mechanic that could be interesting is like the people that we've had bad things happen to in this first session, none of us were particularly close to those people in terms of like the NPCs, or like we knew them, sure, but like they weren't a loved one or a best friend or, someone who is, we were close to. So I'm thinking like as things begin to ramp up, it starts to hit closer and closer to home. The danger is not only to us, but to the people that our characters are emotionally close to. And so that could be part of the increasing sense of like dread, is not only what's going to happen to me, but what's going to happen to the people that I care about.
Yep, and I need input from all of you on that. The only thing I have to go off of right now is Audrey is divorced with 2 children who both fall into the range of I'm not going to show violence toward children. So I don't like if you had a teenager, if you had
safe somewhere off camera.
If you had a teenager, I'd go after one of your kids. But you've got a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. That's a little that's pushing it.
You can still have,
but I can get
the implied threat without actually showing the bad thing happening. Like
sure,
you can have them screaming in a room, and then you get there and the monster's gone, but the kids are still like terrified.
Yeah, you can
that sort of thing.
You can kidnap, but you can't like hurt.
Exactly.
And so it becomes a metagamey thing too. Like the player just has to be like, okay, I know that we've agreed that we're not going to murder children. So my character's child is okay, but at the same time they are kidnapped. So how would I play my character? Or whatever. They're in danger, whatever it may be, whatever the danger may be. Like, yeah, we'll have to. It's a line to walk.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. I think the threat of just something. So like even if as we were like having this thing, if there had been like a howl coming from near the diner, Audrey, like that would have been really tense for me. For example, just knowing that there's another creature out there and it's close to where like the area of town where like one of my children is, like that would be to just
it's near my baby.
Yeah.
Raw, mama bear mode.
And I think we'll get to that more. And as I introduce NPCs too, again, we're dealing with the town where everybody knows each other. As I introduce NPCs, you might decide, like, if you want to tell me, like, hey, my character played football or really liked the coach. If they're young enough to have done that, or they're drinking buddies or poker buddies with the coach, like maybe we can forge those and that way, because I've only introduced so many NPCs so far, but as we introduce more and more, feel free to forge connections to them. You don't have to, and you're certainly welcome to invent NPCs that your character can care about emotionally and worry about and so forth, and then I can put them all in danger and maybe kill a couple of them. But like, as I introduce NPCs, you're welcome to like just invent that relationship for yourself too, if it helps to make, like you know how you all know what your character is, you all know how you would like to play your character and what sorts of things you'd like to see. So if you would like your character to be freaking out that their best friend is in danger, well, tell me your best friend is the person I just put in danger.
Yeah, I have been thinking about that.
Absolutely.
And especially being a younger person, the majority of my interactions are going to be with other young people. So, yeah, I've been thinking about it. I'm actually getting a good. It's kind of fun. Like I like the building it as we go thing, because it's just sort of a fun. That's how I like to build worlds. But that's
you're only your character's only a couple years older than Jay. Like, what's their relationship with Jay? You want to have your character have extra stakes in the story, then they have a good relationship with Jay, and let's now you want to save them, or
in my case it might be a little tough. Might be a little tough to give you loved ones for someone like me, but maybe like she's actually made friends with other homeless people in the city, in the town. I mean, there may only be 3,000 people, so it may not be like an entire homeless quadrant, but there's got to be a few people who are down on their luck and sleeping in a trash can or next to a trash can. So like I can imagine that she might care more about them than some of the other NPCs out there.
Just something to throw out at you, and I'm gonna use a character from Home Alone to demonstrate this. You can have a character who is quote unquote forgotten and doesn't have strong relationships with people, but that doesn't mean you don't necessarily care about them. The old man in Home Alone was on the outs with his son, but was clearly devoted to his granddaughter and went to see her sing in the church and loved her very much. And the whole arc for his character was reconciling with his family. So even though he was sort of shunned and forgotten by his family, there was, like you could, and that becomes a great way for not that you would stop being the forgotten character. You're still kind of forgotten by society in general, but you could have those bonds with friends or family members who you've kind of fallen out with but you still care about the people, and we can build off of that. And it's great because we're going to be doing a campaign, so we can actually establish it and build to it.
Yeah, forgotten characters usually don't forget. Just because other people forget them doesn't mean they forget other people. Usually that's like a tragic element to their story is there's all these people that they care about, there's all these people that they worry about, but those people have forgotten them.
I can't believe I used Home Alone as an RPG example.
It was good.
It's a good one. It's because I was listening to a podcast about Home Alone recently, and they talked quite at length about that character. But anyway, any other, just like let's get close in here, wrapping it up. It sounds like we're mostly talking about how we can make all of our characters afraid and give them greater emotional stakes, and I am all for that. The first session, it's a little difficult to get too much into that, but we will continue to build on it. We'll play for a while, and I will make your characters worry as much as I can. And if you have any other comments or thoughts about the mechanics or any of this stuff for that matter, by all means, we've got the discussion going on in Discord, or if you want to do a private message, if you want, you can do that too. Was there anything else anybody else wanted to throw out there before we wrap her up? That sounds like a no. And we got the siren going on. Let's all say goodbye. Shireen?
Hello, I'm Shireen, and you can find me online as Madfishmonger. So just go look that up, and you can go see my shop where I make stuff on my old treadle machine and other things. Yeah, go check that out.
Ando?
So I am Ando Valentine. Best way that you can help me out, check me out on Twitter. My handle is @Ando Valentine. Thank you. Hope you'll enjoy my podcast.
And go look for Shadows of a Dark Past.
There's a link to it on my Ando Valentine Twitter, so that's why I sent people there.
So you can get another round of creepy vampire horror kind of stuff, but like drama and radio drama kind of stuff. Shannon.
Hey, my name's Shannon. My handle for gaming things is usually Hidden Trader. Yeah, looking forward to next week.
And Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris. You can find me on the NerdBurger Discord as Aura of Awesome. I'm on Twitter as Villain463. I'm around places.
And I'm Craig Campbell. I designed this game, which I'm feeling much better about now that I've had a chance to play it and start to see what the possibilities are. We'll be back every Saturday afternoon from 1 p.m. until 3 or 4, depending on how we kind of wrap things up, with potentially like a little bit of discussion like this at the end as we try out the game. You can follow me at NerdBurger Craig on Twitter, and go to nerdburgergames.com for all sorts of game stuff there, and there's links to other places, and and all the other games that I make are on drivethrurpg.com. And there's a kitty cat who's going to say goodbye with us. And thanks for joining us. Bye bye.
Bye bye, Tintin.